Down here in the pasture with the cattle. We're gonna just kind of go over a few things. I keep seeing and hearing stuff. You know, I got some friends in the social media area, and they send me videos about some other folks and the things they're saying, and that's good and great and all, but they don't really know what they're talking about. So they're kind of selling some disinformation. So we're just gonna kind of dispel that. Again, like always, I don't really get going here for about the first few minutes or minute or so till we get a few people here on the live so we can go ahead and interact with them and I don't just waste my time. There we go. We got somebody. We just got fired up here. So we're out here with the cattle. We're going to talk about total grazing, non-selective and selective styles of grazing. And there's this really big kind of hot button subject out there in the grazing world. If you're not in it, then you probably have no idea what I'm even talking about. But it's a thing. It's a real thing. It's amazing the things we'll fight over these days, right? It's unbelievable. So you get all these people out here bitching and moaning about all kinds of dumb stuff, all the way down to cow poop and how to make your cattle go to another paddock. And oh my god, whatever. So what we practice here is called a total grazing program, right? Or which is a grazing system that was developed by a man named Jim Elizondo or Jaime Elizondo. He's a Mexican rancher. He has his own ranch down there. He's a dairy nutritionist and accountant, among other things. And he's kind of put together this whole plan and system. And if you follow it, you'll be very successful. And you can grow a lot of beef on very few acres. But there are some caveats to it, and there are the pitfalls for sure of this style of grazing system if you're not aware of how to actually operate it and you just kind of go at it great guns and a little bit cavalier about, I mean, you're going to have some issues. So we'll talk about a few of those things. Hey guys, how are you? And we're going to talk about a lot that has to do with, there's this misconception about how grass regrows, right? How this grass comes up from the ground, okay? And the theories behind the couple of different methodologies of grazers in general, people that manage cattle and manage land. Some people, we go all the way to, let's start for the different types of grazers that are out there, or land management. There's the, you'll hear people refer to it as like the Columbus method or whatever. They turn their cattle out in the spring and then they go discover them in the fall, right? That's a very hands-off approach. We consider that a set stocking rate. Set stocking rate is you're just going to put X amount of cattle on X amount of acreage and you just let them have it, okay? That is going to be the least productive management form, and you're going to grow less beef and you're going to have less animal performance overall. Now, there's going to be certain times of the year where your cattle will do really, really well due to the selective nature that you are allowing them to graze in, right? Okay, so then next, you're going to probably have your rotational grazers, people that have got different paddocks, right? They have hard fenced, set, permanent fences, and they'll set up 12 of them or 16 of them or 20 or whatever they may be. And then they spend X amount of days in every single paddock, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days a week, whatever, and then they move to the next paddock like clockwork, okay? So those will be kind of your traditional rotational grazers. Now, mind you, there's exceptions to every rules, guys, so let's not get on this whole, well, I know this guy that does it, and then, well, just kind of generalized statements here, okay, about how this kind of works. And then you move into the next evolution of, let's say, amp grazers or MIG grazers. That's a more intensive form of grazing management where you're going to graze with more management. You're going to watch your land closer, and you are, though, still, like the other prior two management styles, you will be selective grazing. So you allow your cattle to pick and choose what they want to eat. You will probably move them if you are a amp or mid grazer. You will move them more frequently than somebody that is a rotational grazer or a set stalker. And then you kind of move up into these crazy people. I'm one of them that does this stuff that we consider non-selective grazing, okay? Now, again, a generalized statement. It doesn't mean that's all we ever do. I want to dispel that right here out of the gate. Doesn't mean we only non-selectively graze 365 days a year, no matter what, right? So we're still very, well, I shouldn't say we, not all we. There's a lot of guys out there that all they will do is non-selective grazing. And so That's really hard on most animals. Most animals can't really handle it. They don't have the genetics to do it. And you're gonna struggle. You're gonna find a lot of things that are difficult. So as far as animal performance and breed back and daily gain and all those wonderful things that we all strive for as cattlemen. Well, and then you have guys like me and others that we use non-selective grazing as a management tool inside of kind of this bigger system, okay? So it's something we strive for. The goal is to, yes, if we could non-selectively graze 365 days a year, that is the pinnacle, right? It's kind of like aim for the stars, you might hit the moon kind of idea. So that's what our goal is, but it doesn't mean that's all we're going to do. And I'll clarify that, because if we don't have the ability to become very adaptable and change when we see an issue with our animals, they're going to continue falling in performance, get ill, get sick, lose body condition. You can have all these problems, not breed back. So again, we want to non-selectively graze as much as we can until we can't. We can only graze as aggressively and as efficiently as the genetics of our animals will allow us to, okay? So that's kind of where we're at, right? I want to recap. So we have our set stocking rate, let them have the whole farm, every gate's open. Then you have your selective grazer, or excuse me, your rotational grazers that move the cattle around at a very specific time frame after 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, whatever. Then you go into your MIG and AMP grazers who are more adaptable, yes. And mind you, all these ones I've just spoke about, they are selectively grazing, which is typically best for individual animal performance. It's the best thing you can do for the individual cow. They will stay fatter, they will have better condition, but you will sacrifice overall herd performance and you will produce less on your land. Okay, so those are all selective grazing management styles. Then we go ahead and move into the non-selective grazing management groups. Those would be ultra high density grazers, non-selective grazers, and total grazers. And I kind of separate them apart because they're all a little bit different, okay? So you have Johann Zeitzman, which is kind of a bit of the godfather of this methodology, but he's very extreme on one side, and he is kind of more like, well, I don't care if your cows, if some of them don't breed back, it doesn't matter, because you can run so many cattle on your land that it more than makes up for the lack of animal performance. And then you have on kind of the yin to that yang would be Jim Elizondo, where he's like, no, we don't need to push our animals that hard. We're going to push our animals as hard as we can without losing performance. So, you know, there's all these different styles and groups, but let's make sure we're all very clear on this. Both of those styles I just discussed, the premise of it is non-selective grazing. Okay, that was a big word salad. So let's get to, before I get into what non-selective grazing is and what selective grazing is, let me go to the comments and see if you guys got anything here, if you're just, let's see. Okay. My day is going fantastic, thank you. Can they jump? Yeah, some of them. All right. Is that an ex-wife? Oh, which one? The one with the long face or the fat belly? Oh, that's funny. All right. So everybody's just kind of, you know, just chatting around here. So if you guys got any real, like, serious questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, non-selective grazing versus selective grazing. Selective grazing is just what it sounds like. You allow them to pick and choose what they want. They get to choose the best and reject the rest, okay? Then you go into non-selective grazing, and you give them a very, very small area at high stock densities, and you basically, in one form or another, you're forcing them to eat it all, because what ends up happening, you get so many animals in a small area. As you can see, these guys are right on top of each other. We're not at ultra high stocking densities here, not what I would consider ultra high anyway. You know, I'm just looking at it. I'm going to throw out there, we're probably maybe 350, 400,000 pounds an acre. We're not very, very high right now. ultra high stock density. You know, I would say it starts at 400,000 in my experience and kind of peaks at 1,000,000 pounds an acre. Okay, so 400,000 pounds to 1,000,000 pounds. So if you have 1,000 pound animals, to make easy math, which a lot of these cattle are, these are smaller breed, that means you would have 1,000 cattle on 1 acre land to achieve your 1,000,000 pound stock density. Okay, that's pretty intense, right? You ever seen an acre with 1,000 cattle on it? No, neither have I. Typically how it works is you have less cattle than 1,000, and you do the proper math to adjust the size of the area that you allow them to have. So the ratio of pounds of beef per square foot, i.e. acreage, ends up equating to. But that's the formula we use as pounds of beef per acre. So 400,000 pounds would be 400 cows per acre. Now, I have seen that, absolutely. I have seen 400 cows in half of an acre, but I've never seen 1,000 cows on 1 acre. Most people don't keep herds that big, at least together in this style of grazing management. So what do we have here? Oh, we're probably running now about 30 units, only 30. We got a little herd here. We're working on it. We're trying to grow our numbers. We have approximately, we purchased this initial farm and it came with 129 total acres, of which maybe 75 were grazable. I say grazable, potentially grazable. Most of it was just absolute trash, garbage, no grass. And then my son and daughter-in-law ended up purchasing 63 over there, which has roughly 50 to 55 acres of potentially grazable, meaning not forested. So when we go ahead and run the numbers on it, we have about a total of 125 to 30 acres of open land that we are currently working on to improve, to turn into beautiful, high productive, high organic matter soil that will be highly nutritive and produce high brix level plants. Okay, that is the key. So here we go. You see behind you, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to show you the paddock they just came off of. Let me, wow, you're keeping it real, all right. Yeah, we'll look at some of the animals up close here in just a second. I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you guys what the paddock looks like that they just came off, okay? So there's a lot of folks out there that say that us total grazers, we graze it to the dirt, and that's our goal. You know, the whole goal is to take every bit of forage off and leave only dirt behind. Well, I can assure you that is not my goal. My goal is to make them harvest as much grass as we can possibly harvest without their performance suffering, okay? So what does that mean? Well, why I guess that this is something a lot of folks won't know, so I'm going to explain it. So why didn't I make them eat more of this grass? There's still grass there, right? Well, okay, let's talk about the grass plant and how it kind of works. So the top, you're gonna go ahead and divide a grass plant in, let's just say, thirds. You got your top third, middle third, and bottom third. The top third is going to be the highest energy. It's going to be the most palatable, likely going to be the highest in protein, starches, i.e. sugars. So it's going to be very nutritive, okay? And then you're going to get into the middle section of the plant, and it's going to be so-so, right? And this all, mind you, also very much depends on the age of the plant. So, meaning the maturity. I shouldn't say age, because age, some of these plants can live 50 years. But it'd be the maturity of the plant, okay? So let's just make a hypothetical. We're going to say June 1st. Okay, June 1st. The cool season grasses have all gone to seed. They got a inflorescence, which is their stem, and they got a seed head, and they've gone to flower. When that happens, the nutritive value of the plant drops tremendously. So you're going to be looking at a plant. The top third is going to be the most nutritive. The center is going to be mediocre, and the bottom third of the plant is going to be terrible. There's not going to be hardly any nutrition in it. I'll put the cows in the background. You don't have to just look at my face. So what ends up happening is you make them consume more of that plant closer to the ground. What do you end up with? You end up with a higher ratio of low nutrition grass as you do to high nutrition grass. When you allow your cattle to graze higher on the plant, closer to the top of the plant, you're getting much higher quality forage for your cattle. So why is that a benefit? Well, that's a benefit for many reasons. It's higher quality food, right? It's more energy dense. It has more, it literally has more nutrients, total nutrients, higher brix levels, and it's very palatable, meaning and digestible. So they want to eat it. When they do eat it, they can do something with it really good. And their gut can turn it into readily available energy and protein for their body to put on pounds of beef and body fat. Okay, well, when you start knocking that ratio down by consuming more and more of that plant, getting closer and closer to the ground, the total overall forage value or quality starts going down. Now, if you have cattle that are hard keepers, they don't flesh easy, they don't have the right genetics to keep good body condition on poor quality feed, they're going to lose condition. And so why is that such a big deal? Well, there's skinny people out there and there's fat people out there, and that's fine, right? Well, skinny cattle, that's bad. Why is a skinny cow bad? You know, Cattle can be content. They can have a completely full belly. They can eat as absolute much as they want, and they can still starve almost to death or to death if the feed value of that forage is too low, not enough nutrition. Well, why it's so important to keep good condition on your cattle, if they aren't fat enough, if your cows, not your bulls, if your cows aren't fat enough, they don't have enough fat in their body to produce estrogen. That's a very, very important thing for them to be able to cycle, right? Cycling means, i.e., like a woman's estrous cycle, a period. If they can't cycle, they can't receive a bull, and they can't they can receive a bull, but they're not going to get pregnant. So then you will have a cow that lives on your land for a whole additional year that gives you nothing, doesn't give you a calf, gives you nothing marketable. You're not moving forward. All that happened is you had a freeloader on your land all year, and you got nothing out of it, so you actually went backward. So it's really important as cattlemen, the goal is the highest conception rates you can possibly get, or breed back rates. You're looking for cattle that will breed back. So there's several ways to get there. You can give them higher quality forage, or you can work on better genetics, or both, right? So what is happening is there is a lot of folks out there that have claimed to have tried this grazing management system, and it's so far out of their wheelhouse because they've been selective grazers so long that they see the condition of their cattle drop and they don't know quite how to manage them, and so they just say it doesn't work, or they end up bombing. They end up not having enough cattle breed back. They have poor breed back rates. So that's very important. So if you're going to do this, I would say this is most likely the most extreme form of cattle husbandry, animal husbandry, and land management that's out there, to my knowledge. Okay, it's very, very intensive. We move these cattle 4 times every single day. We give them a fresh meal every 2.5 hours. Okay, so every 2.5 hours, we move that little wire right there forward just a little more. Now, how do we know how much to give them? It's just kind of experience, and we still screw up. It never fails. I'm like, I gave them too much. They trampled too much down. I didn't give them quite enough. They don't look as good. Their gut's not as full. They weren't very happy with the forage. Now, when is it appropriate to work on ultra high harvest efficiency? What is ultra high harvest efficiency? And I make up some of my own words here, okay, just to kind of show really the difference of what it is. Some people just call it high harvest efficiency. I call it ultra high harvest efficiency. Anything at 90% or higher, I'm going to consider ultra high harvest efficiency. So your harvest efficiency means the amount of available forage that is consumed by the animal, okay? That's your harvest efficiency. So if you have a 10% harvest efficiency, it means they only ate 10% of the plant and left 90%. Well, that's not our goal, and we'll get into that in a bit. Our goal is for them to eat as much of this forage as they can possibly eat with what? Without, I should say, losing body condition, okay? So when is an appropriate time to harvest 90+% of the available forage? Let's see if anybody can answer that. I don't know. You guys might not be that interactive tonight. But if you had to guess, when is it appropriate for cattle to eat that much instead of only half? Or maybe I should ask, what kind of grass or what quality of grass should we be trying to make them eat 90% of instead of only half? I'll wait just a second. I'll let you think about it. I'll look at the cows for a second. My dogs are freaking out. They're stupid. They bark at people here on the ranch that they know. You know, I think they're blind. That shut them up. Okay, sorry guys. Well, I'll answer that question. When the forage quality is really high. When that forage is really high, it is like it's like boot or flag stage, meaning that the seed head has not erupted yet out of the boot. It means it's higher in protein and higher in energy. It's younger, it's sweeter, it's more full of nutrition. I think a dog just got ran over. Oh boy. That's not good. Wow, we got ourselves some drama. Excuse me 1 second. I think a dog just got ran over. Hey! Kristen! I have no idea. I think one of our dogs just got ran over. That's great. Unbelievable. If anybody's still there, if you heard any of that, looks like one of our dogs just got ran over, so that's unfortunate. You know, if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. That's ranch life. Yeah, I lost everybody there. Sorry. Yeah, that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. Oh boy, there's nothing to save. If he's run over, he's run over. Damn. Unbelievable. It's one of them days, I guess. Dogs getting run over. Unbelievable. Oh my goodness. I just don't need this kind of drama in my life right now, you know? I just really don't. I just don't need this. Oh boy. Oh, that's disheartening. Okay. I don't even know where I was at. I might have to go deal with this drama. Yeah. Yeah, I know my dog just got ran over. One of them. I guess I have to go deal with this. All right. Well, I guess I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Sorry. Dog's getting run over. That's great. Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll come back at you guys here after I go deal with this. I hope I don't have to put them down. Geez. Well, at any rate, before I go here, I'll just reiterate again. If you would like to know more about this grazing management and, you know, see it with your own eyes and learn from the man himself that teaches this stuff. He's going to be here at our ranch, Tick Creek Ranch here, just outside of Alton, Missouri. Here November 7th and 8th, just coming up here in a couple months. And yeah, it's a good time. You know, I've already attended his classes, his courses. I've kind of done the whole shebang, and it's been a very, very eye-opening experience, you know. No, I probably won't put my dog down on video. That's a little morbid. So I can tell you this, if you're in the cattle world, or if you plan on getting in it, and you don't at least investigate this and try and learn about this method, you're really missing out. I'm telling you, it has absolutely fundamentally changed the way we operate around here. It's very intensive. It takes a lot of effort. But the amount of grass that we grow, the amount of forage that we have now, and the quality of it, it's exponential. I mean, it's unbelievable how much it's changed. I'm gonna walk up here to go figure out what the hell I gotta do here. But I'll show you some of this forage that we're growing. And mind you, this just used to be just a nasty, weedy, rocky, I mean, well, it's still rocky. But I mean, almost every freaking square inch of this whole property is absolutely covered in forage, you know. Where it used to be weeds, a lot of dirt, and a little bit of grass. There was some grass, but it was very sickly, recovered very, very slow, very poor. So I'll flip this around here real quick and I'll show you some of this here. This is actually some season-long rested stockpile that I just really lightly top clipped to get some seed heads off, so that to not just seed head, but some of the warm season grasses, I went and clipped them as to help not shade out the now cool season grasses that are coming in. So this time of year, as we start cooling off and our nighttime temperatures start getting in the 50s, daytime temperatures are in the 70s to low 80s, the cool season grasses really start coming on. And we want to encourage that. We want to always encourage the next successional plant, whether it be a warm season or a cool season. So what I mean by that is we don't want to try and encourage warm season grasses in the cool season time or vice versa. What we're trying to do is always help to create optimal growing conditions for the next successional plant that comes in. So if you have, say, for example, in the spring, after cool season grasses come in, do their thing, and if they're just left there to stand and you don't graze them off or mow them off, then your warm seasons, they really get out competed. They don't get enough sunlight to grow and push up and really express themselves. And then on the converse of that, exactly the opposite. At the end of this summer going into fall, when the cool seasons are supposed to start growing in, if you have this big tall canopy of nasty, rank, old, dry, crappy, warm season grass, well, it's going to be shading out the growth points and will be suppressing new germination of also additional cool season grasses. So we really look at, and I look at my land now very, very different through a different lens, that we don't have two seasons. We don't have the brown season and the green season, meaning winter and spring, summer, fall. No, we have many seasons, and they're all very, very specific into themselves. So we actually have 3 individual growing seasons. We have a cool growing season, spring. We have a warm growing season, summer, and then we have it followed by another cool season. So when you start to learn to manage your grasses around the seasons specifically, then you can have a very diverse stand of grass that doesn't just end up turning into a monoculture of one or the other, just cool season grasses or just warm season grasses. Because if that's all you have, our cool season grasses come summer, well, you don't really have anything growing. And if all you have are warm season grasses, you don't have much growing in the spring and the fall. So, right, we're trying to work with nature here. So I'll flip you around again. I'm going to show you this. This is now, this is a couple weeks of recovery. We just came out of here, shot across over there where we just came from, and then are working up the hill now where the cattle are. So this, we grazed it, and then when I was done grazing it, I actually mowed it, and I mowed it as absolutely close to the ground as I could. I got about that close. It looked like a putting green. It's absolutely beautiful. And people will tell you that it won't grow back. That's not going to grow back because you didn't leave a solar collector. Guys, that's what I was trying to get to earlier in the video, before this drama happened. That's not how grass grows. Grass doesn't grow because of the photosynthetic process that it's actively in right then. It grows back from energy stores in its roots. So if you take the whole top of the plant off, it's going to come back if you have really well rested and reserved root system. If you have grass that isn't well recovered, it's not going to come back. So you're going to have to protect your soil. You're going to have to hopefully keep all that moisture in there. It's just a mess. So start learning some of these principles, and if you can apply them, you're going to be way, way more productive. So I better get out of here. I got a kid standing here probably telling me I got to shoot a dog. So yeah, blessings, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Wish us luck. See ya. We're out of here.